playing, and actually, Garrett, I'm going to stick with you because you've been playing Ni no Kuni 2, which is a game that, if I remember, Jack, you hadn't played it, but I know you had it down in Soundtrack of the Year that year because the soundtrack was generally beautiful.
Yeah.
If that was my correct recollection of that particular scenario.
Yeah, and we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, and I'd never actually finished either of the games. So I wondered if that conversation had that effect on you, Garrett, where you kind of remembered that we've spoken about it, and it put it in the back of your mind maybe that you wanted to play.
Suggesting that I, in fact, very easily influenced. But
yes,
yeah, because I played the first one, as we mentioned a couple weeks ago. I finished the first one, and I did get the second, and I was like, oh, I love the first one, I'll play this. And it is quite different, because the first one, combat wise, is basically a Pokemon clone, whereas it has a little real time stuff, but the mechanics are a Pokemon RPG. Whereas this is just a straight up action RPG where you control one character and you have two other characters going off doing things. And that's it. So it's very different mechanically. So when I played it the first time, I was like, oh, this isn't the exact same as the first Ni no Kuni. Is that a little disappointing? Maybe. So when we mentioned it, it's I should go back to that because I'm in that lull between games. So I played about 5 hours of this week, and it's just a very good JRPG. It looks really pretty with that Ghibli inspiration. It has, Jack mentioned, just astoundingly good music, just phenomenal music top to bottom, and it has some cool systems and mechanics, because the idea is your character, there's a coup in his kingdom in Ding Dong Dell, and he's booted out of his kingdom by a bunch of rats who raised up to kill the mice overlord, or the cat overlords, boot them out of their kingdom, kill everybody except the king got out, and he's a child because they staged a coup and killed his dad. This is all first hour of the game stuff, these aren't spoilers. So the kid has to go out and form his own kingdom. So you do this kind of kingdom building stuff where you go out, you pick your land, you start your own kingdom, you fight wars against other enemies and kind of claim territory and grow your kingdom. And I haven't got...
You're making it sound like Civilization at the moment.
It's a little bit of Civilization, because there is a real-time strategy sub-mode in there where you're controlling these groups of army commanders and going around and clearing out the battlefield and claiming territory. And it's I've only played 2 of those battles so far because they only introduced them a few hours into the game, but it's really, really cool, and I enjoy it, and it's just a really well-made JRPG. It's just pretty and fun to play, and I'm having a good time with it.
I was going to ask you how Ghibli it is, but then I've just remembered that you haven't seen any. So, playing this, does it give you any... Do you feel compelled in any way to go and start watching them, or you're just enjoying this what it is as a JRPG?
It feels, in my infinite wisdom, less Ghibli than the first one, but still pretty Ghibli. Because I don't think Level 5, who made the first one, are they involved in this one? I'm not entirely sure. I know it's Bandai Namco producing.
No idea.
But yeah, because the first one was made in conjunction with Studio Ghibli, wasn't it? As opposed to this one, which wasn't. It was just made by Level 5. Yeah, so that's how that worked. So it does feel a little less Ghibli, because obviously it doesn't have the direct Ghibli influences. Well, it still has the influences, but it doesn't have the direct involvement. But it's still very pretty and pleasant.
Aside from the music, I guess, because still Joe Hisaishi.
Yeah, so it still has the composer. But yeah. It's a really cool game. I'm having a lot of fun.
What are you playing on?
PS5, which is PS4 backward compatibility. I don't think it's an upgraded version or anything.
Okay. And
nice.
How does it, visually, I imagine it looks stunning.
There's times where it looks bad as
choppy.
Not even choppy. It's just the overworld doesn't have there's not a ton of depth of field and stuff like that sometimes, where it just feels like it's a budget thing as opposed to a technical constraint thing. But some of the cutscenes and stuff like that, some of the interiors do look really, really nice.